Carson Wentz preps for his first start as Vikings quarterback. You'll hear from him. Plus, Fertle's Rylin Petry on dominating on the golf course for the Bison. Hot Mike begins now.
Hot Mike with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mike.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mike. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Thursday morning. Welcome to the squeaked it out edition of Hot Mike on WDAY Extra. KSFL TV, good morning, everybody, in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Rapid City, and Inforum.com. Happy Thursday, a rainy one to start. Looks like we're going to have it for a bit. It's all right, we need it. Get us for some fun football tomorrow if it sticks around. Weekend almost here. We'll get you ready for that as well. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Dom Izzo, host of said program. Welcome to Hot Mike for this 18th day of September 2025. The name of the show is apropos for numerous reasons. For those that follow broadcasting, they certainly know what Hot Mike means. It means it's always on. I'm reminded again yesterday of the events that transpired that the power of this microphone that sits in front of me, you cannot underestimate. It's just something you have to respect it. And I try to do that every day. But something we don't take for granted. Just the fact that we're able to say what we can say, hopefully without repercussion. That's all I'll say. Welcome to our program. We got a lot to get to today, including even the weather the way it is. We're going to chat some golf. We're a week out from one of the favorite events on the sports calendar, even though the event only happens every 2 years. The Ryder Cup begins a week from tomorrow in New York on Long Island, and we have a guest on our show that's actually played the golf course at Bethpage Black. Rylin Petry from Fertile, Minnesota, North Dakota State golfer, will join us coming up in just a little bit. You know his name from this summer. He was the champion of the Red River Amateur Championship over at Mora Country Club. He's kept the good play going. He's part of a Bison team that's won their first 2 golf tournaments, so we'll have him on the show to talk about that and his experience at Bethpage with the Ryder Cup. The golf world, sports world, going to be focused on that next week as the USA looks to win the Ryder Cup back when it tees off next week. So we're looking forward to that conversation. Also, we're a Northwest Minnesota heavy show. We're representing Fertile today, and Mahnomen-Waubun going to be represented as well because the Thunderbirds are rolling again in football. Head coach John Clark is coming up later on in our show. We're excited about that as well. You'll also hear from Carson Wentz. Met the media yesterday in Minneapolis as the Vikes get ready for Cincinnati. And first start for Carson as a member of the Minnesota Vikings. I think some interesting perspective he has here on now taking over in a spot where he lost his job after he got hurt, now taking over for a guy that has been hurt. And he says it. We talked about it yesterday on the show. He has not played any meaningful game in 3 years. The last 2 starts he made, those seasons were decided. Backups were playing then. So this is a whole different deal. You'll hear part of his media availability coming up later on in the show. But let's start with some hoops. And if you didn't stay up last night, you missed a whale of an ending in San Jose. That's where the Lynx were playing last night. Game 2 of their opening round series with Golden State, the Valkyries, which they were honored last night. They have the Coach of the Year. They have the Most Improved Player. They had everything going for them. And, boy, they started out dynamite. Kate Martin will score here. Valkyries build a 7-point lead. We go to the second. Now they're up by 13. Janelle Salon comes in. She'll score underneath. It's a rout here. The Lynx are getting boat raced. They're down 15. They made 14 of 16 of their baskets came off the assist. But here come the Lynx in the fourth quarter. Dejanay Carrington drills a three with 3 minutes to go. It's a 1-point lead. Same score. Here comes Kayla McBride, drives and scores. Now Minnesota is up one. It's 71-70. Off the miss, Monique Billings is there for the tip-in. Golden State goes back in front. It's 72-71. Minute and a half to go. You want to give the Visa Collier a wide-open look? Sure. For some reason, they reviewed it. It was clearly a 2. Lynx are up 73-72. 33 seconds to go. Courtney Williams, big-time shot there, puts the Lynx up by 3. Now it's a 1-point game. Look at the shot clock here. About a 2-second differential between the game and the shot clock. Golden State plays some dynamite defense here. I'm not sure what happened. There's a shot clock violation, though, on the Lynx. So the Valkyries have a chance to win the game here with 1 second to go. This shot off the mark. And Minnesota comes back and beats Golden State 75-74. A game they were, frankly, being outplayed in most of it. They rally and win the series. Remember, it's best of 3, so they are moving on in the WNBA playoffs. You see, Nafisa Collier was great, barely came off the floor with 24 points. McBride was all the players that the Lynx needed to have be great. They were, and they are on to the semifinal round, rallying from a 17-point deficit to win the game. So they will await the winner now in the WNBA semifinals of either Phoenix or New York. The Liberty got blown out last night, the reigning champs, by Phoenix. They lost by 26 at home. So that series is going to start on Sunday. It'll be in Minneapolis. We just don't know the time yet of when the game will happen. Let's hope it's not 2 o'clock because the Vikings are playing then. There's 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock TV windows. Be smart about it. Put the Lynx at 4. The other series will be decided tonight. Vegas and Seattle and Atlanta and Indiana will play their deciding Game 3. So 3 of the 4 go in the distance in the WNBA first round. The next round goes to best of 5. And as I mentioned, that will start on Sunday. Fun game last night. Again, it was worth your while if you stayed up and watched it because at halftime, they were just getting blown out of the water there, as you saw in our graphic, down by 17, but came back and win, and now they're moving on. So we'll see what happens coming up this weekend when they play again. Again, we're going to have everything happening just like last weekend on Sunday. You got the Vikes playing at noon. The Twins are playing at 1 against the Guardians. That's the home finale, by the way, for the Twins. And then the Lynx playing again on Sunday. So a full Minneapolis smorgasbord, as it were, for games coming up on Thursday or on Sunday. Speaking of the Twins, they wrapped up their series with the Yankees last night, and whatever pitching magic they found on Tuesday with Simeon Woods Richardson, they didn't have it the last 2 nights because we got to see the Yankee bats come out and bludgeon the Twins pitching, whether it was last night with 4 different guys that got in there, or with Zebby Matthews especially. Taj Bradley was the victim last night. Cody Bellinger started things. Little duck snort with an opposite field hit here. Why are we not sliding? That play was way too close. Aaron Judge beats the throw. It's a 1-zip game. The Twins would answer back on a base hit from Royce Lewis to score Matt Wallner to tie it at 1. Twins would actually take the lead. If you don't know this guy, you're going to meet him in the postseason. Trent Grisham has been fantastic for New York. That home run ties the game up at 2. Same score later in the inning. Again, here's another reason why Austin Martin might be your starting left fielder next year. He's playing. He's quick. He makes nice plays in the field. He steals bases as well. Corey Provis tipped us off on this last Friday. It certainly seems like he's going to be the starting left fielder for Minnesota. Grisham goes down and golfs this one. A 2-run home run makes it a 5-2 Yankee lead. He has 33 home runs. He might be the quietest 30-home run hitter I've ever heard of in baseball. It's a 7-3 Yankee lead when Brooks Lee delivers a 2-run single. Luke Keyshaw and Larnick score to make it 7-5. But that was all she wrote for the Twins. Bellinger rips this one off Genesis Cabrera. That's a 2-run laser beam that made it 10-5 Yankees, and that would be the final as they end up taking the series from Minnesota 2-1 over 20,000 in attendance, at least tickets sold. It was a good crowd all 3 days. I told you there was going to be pretty good crowds there Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Let's see what happens now for the Guardians coming in with a Friday game. I think it's a doubleheader on Saturday and then the finale on Sunday. It's the Twins are clutching to this. They didn't get swept in either series this year by the Yankees. Not great. Bradley, it's been up and down since they acquired him from Tampa. 4 innings, 8 hits, 7 runs, all of them earned, and 4 strikeouts as the Twins fall now to officially 20 games under 500. And the story came out from The Athletic on Tuesday night, late Tuesday, and I missed this, so I apologize. I saw it after the show wrapped, that the Twins fired 3 out of their 4 pro scouts, guys that are going and scouting other pro teams. The Twins let go of them, and what a source said is a pure cost-cutting move. Now, in full disclosure, there are many teams that do not have full pro scout departments anymore, or they do it all on video and don't travel. But it just, on top of everything else that has happened with this baseball team over the last 6 to 7 weeks, heck, you can go back the last 2 years, since the 23 season ended when they lost to the Astros in Game 4, everything has been about cost-cutting. Everything is about saving money. And now this goes on top of it. Guy that's been with the team for 39 seasons. Out. Twins official declined comment on the dismissals. This comes from the Athletic story. The move comes about a month after the Pohlad family announced it ended its exploration of a sale and was instead taking on 2 limited partnership groups, a process which won't be finalized till Major League Baseball's owners approve the new part owners. Source confirmed those are limited partnerships, are purchasing at least 20% of the club, of course, to get rid of the debt that the Pohlads have, which is about $430 million. With the new business arrangement in place, the Twins are looking to restructure a front office that grew exponentially in terms of resources and positions in the past 5 years. The Twins had leaned less on their pro scouting department in recent years, heavily cutting travel to road games and require them to mainly do video-based scouting. It says the limiting or elimination of pro scouting departments is becoming a trend across baseball as teams have been relying on video scouting more and more in recent years. 10 months ago, the Cubs drastically reduced their pro scouting department. Again, it just doesn't look good. Optics are everything, and when you've got everything that they've done with trading 10 guys, not selling the team, bringing on limited partners, just read the room. And they have not been able to do that. And now they're at a season worst 20 games under 5. So 66-86 with 10 games to go. What do we expect here? I'm not a great math mind. If they're 3-7, that's 69 wins. That's another 90-loss team at Target Field. You guys, if you do me a favor, can we look up how many 90-loss seasons they've had since Target Field opened? Since 2000. It's got to be at least 5 or 6. I know they had a 100-loss year in there, but let's look that up. 2010 is when the team started playing at Target Field. I'm just curious. It's got to be 6 or 7 90-loss seasons. Unless they go crazy hot over the last 10 games, they're going to do it again. Not good. Also not good, late yesterday, winding down for the night, was getting ready to watch the Lynx game. Phone started blowing up because of a tweet from Adam Schefter that went out. And this was said tweet. Thanks, Kyle. 5. Is that counting if they get to 100 or 90 this year, or is that prior to 2025? Okay, so they have 5. So they're going to have 6. Yikes. That's not good. So Schefter dropped this tweet at about 8:20 last night, 8:30, that our guy, we were just talking about him yesterday with Hankinson head football coach Jason Moneylaws, that Cody Mauch is going to be done for the season. Suffered a knee injury Monday night. He finished playing the game. And, of course, the Bucs ended up rallying and winning the football game. He got dinged for a illegal man downfield penalty. That was that play that happened on Monday night. We talked with Cody about his dependability, his ability to play every game. He had not missed a game, had not missed a snap since he made it into the National Football League 2+ years ago. And now this is crushing. There's nothing about this I enjoy talking about, because he's become as reliable as a player as you can have. Frankly, on a beat-up offensive line, the Bucs are playing without Tristan Wirfs right now, who's their all-pro left tackle. He's been out. So Mauch, frankly, has been the most experienced offensive lineman that Tampa Bay has had, and now done for the year. And it's another Bison injury that went down this year. We know Cordell Volson got injured during camp. He's out for the season. Christian Watson has yet to play yet, recovering from his ACL tear that he got late last year. And now you can add Cody onto that mix, which is just a tough deal. So tough for everybody, honestly, that loves to watch the guy play. I think there's certainly a faction here, even of non-Bison fans, that like to see the guy from Hankinson who misses his front tooth, who's got the long flowing red hair, just got married this summer, and now a really tough deal, especially going into likely a year where his contract would be discussed, because he's going to be 3 years in, that his rookie option, that fifth year would likely, I think, will still get picked up. Who knows? Tampa's good. We talked about it on Monday or Tuesday after they won. I think this is the 6th time ever that a team has won its first 2 games of the season 5 years in a row. I know it's a lot of stat there. Let me see if I can say it simpler. Tampa Bay is the 6th team in NFL history to start 2-0 for 5 straight years. That probably makes more sense. They've been good, and Cody's been a big part of that. And he's done for the year, though. So he'll have surgery, and the rehab process begins. But as I tweeted out last night, there was 0% of that story that was surprising or bewildering that he played the rest of the game hurt. Just none on that. Salute to him, and hopefully he gets back soon. We got a packed show coming up for you here today on this Thursday morning. Our guest lineup is brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. As I mentioned, at 9:35, we'll be joined by Fertile native and Bison senior golfer Rylin Petry will join us after what's been an unreal run on the golf course. Frankly, we saw it start in June in Moorhead. It's kept on going now for his senior season as a Bison. He'll join us coming up at 9:35. Our guy Sam Goetzinger will join us at 10 o'clock. We'll chat plenty on some college football stuff. His Colts are 2-0, which I'm sure he saw coming, thanks to former Viking great Daniel Jones. That's coming up at 10 o'clock. And at 10:35, Mahnomen-Waubun head football coach John Clark will join us once again. Thunderbirds are rolling. They're 3-0 on the year. We'll check in on why they're off to another fast start in 2025. That and a heck of a lot more here on a busy Thursday morning. We are just getting started. We come back, you'll hear from Carson Wentz addressing the Vikings and the Viking media about making his first start on Sunday. Back on a rainy Thursday morning edition of Hot Mic right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Thursday morning show off and rolling. Rylin Petry, fertile Minnesota native Bison golfer, going to join us in about 10 minutes' time. Yesterday, practice day for NFL teams getting ready for week 3 of the season. Of course, the Thursday night game coming up tonight, Buffalo and Miami. Should be a beat down for the Bills. But the Vikings are preparing for Cincinnati at U.S. Bank Stadium. For the first time yesterday, Carson Wentz took the reps as the number 1 starter. He was joined out there by another quarterback, Desmond Ridder. The Vikings signed to be basically the emergency guy. So it's going to be Wentz, Brosmer, Ridder. That's your QB lineup for the Vikings this weekend in taking on Jake Browning and the Cincinnati Bengals. A team that has been already 2 weeks into it totally beset by injuries. We went through the laundry list of guys. The one good news, we got the first injury report yesterday in preparation for the game on Sunday, is that Christian Darrisaw was a full practice participant. I'm looking at the injury report right now because it has to come out because of the gambling. Ryan Kelly didn't participate. That's not great. If you don't go Wednesday, typically means you're not playing. Obviously, he's in concussion protocol. Justin School, who has been the left tackle, or as some have called him, the swinging gate at left tackle the last 2 weeks, also did not go. But Darrisaw was a full participant, and Jeff Okudah was a full participant, which is good news. He missed the game on Sunday night with a concussion. Van Ginkel was limited. Harrison Smith limited. Donovan Jackson limited. That's not great news either, the rookie guard with a wrist injury. So that's the latest injury-wise. You saw Wentz out there, and that's what the media is allowed to shoot, is basically warm-ups. It's nothing substantial that they're going to get during practice. But he was available to the media yesterday. We're going to show you a good snippet of his time with answering questions, ranging from getting the chance to start again, replacing J.J. McCarthy, and starting for his 6th different team over the last 6 years. Here's a snippet with Carson.
Exciting for me. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a couple years since I played in a game like this with real consequences. So, really excited for it.
The injury process. What's something that you think a young quarterback like JJ is going through right now?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to him quite a bit when he found out, and I found out just before y'all found out the other day. So, I knew he was banged up a little after the game. Didn't know to what extent, but I just told him, hey, career's long. The career's long, and this might feel like so much going on right now, but I just told him, hey, stay the course. Just reminding him, like, hey, trust your faith. God's got a plan. Like, he's writing that story, and he's been great. He's in good spirits, and hopefully he gets better soon.
Is anything like this in your career compared to what you're going through this week?
Not really, no. It's very different. I'm not gonna lie. It's exciting though. It was fun to go out there and sit through install meetings, knowing this is a chance personally that it's been a couple years since I've had, like I said, a meaningful start. And so I've been staying ready behind the scenes, doing whatever I can. And like I said, it's been fast paced, just trying to learn this offense, learn these guys, all the things. But so to answer your question, it is quite a bit different. But at the same time, once we went out there and practiced, it was a Wednesday practice, and I kind of fell right back into that same routine I've had for 10 years now.
How ready are you?
I feel great. Physically, I feel great. Mentally, I feel like in a good spot. The coaches have done a great job just helping me try and grasp this as quick as I can. And I'm, that was one of my probably favorite things just about getting the chance to sign here a couple weeks ago, is just knowing from afar the type of game plans Coach O'Connell puts together, the way he calls plays. I've just really respected and appreciated and admired that from afar. So really excited to see it in action, this Sunday.
Along those lines, were you watching a couple years ago when Josh Dobbs, I think, came in here, on a week and seemed to be able to get through a game? And there's been a few other occasions like that as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, you see as much as you can see around the league, but definitely noticed that a couple years ago. So, that gives me optimism, as well as a lot of other reasons to give me optimism as well. But no, obviously it's been done, and hats off to those guys that have done it and done it well. So yeah, hopefully we can have a good showing this Sunday.
From your point of view, what makes Kevin O'Connell such a mastermind at getting quarterbacks ready to play in such a short amount of time?
Yeah, I'm still learning that, to be honest. I mean, I've been here for 3 weeks, so I'm still learning the ins and outs of this offense, how he sees the game. What, even just from play calling within a game, all the things. And so I've been around some really good coaches in my career this far, and I'm excited to kind of keep seeing how this unfolds with him calling the plays. But like I said, from afar, something I've respected for a while, and now seeing the inner workings, it's been pretty cool, and hopefully we can find some success.
How has the 6 teams in 6 years kind of shaped your readiness?
Sounds crazy when you say that. No, it's definitely given me a different perspective. Going from being a starter, just traded, cut, all the things, then being a backup the last 2 years behind some, future Hall of Fame quarterbacks, getting to see it done at a very high level has given me some perspective. Also just the perspective of not taking this for granted. You never know when your next chance is going to be in this league. The league's hard. 2 years ago, I was at home until mid-November. It's not something I want to take lightly or take for granted. So I've definitely got a lot of perspective, both from, physically seeing how it's done, but also just the mental side of, being appreciative and not wasting any opportunity.
You mentioned a couple times learning this scheme and trying to pick up a pass. Having gone through this situation 6 different times where you learn a new scheme, does that make it easier this time? Or?
Probably. Probably. I mean, running the same playbook for 5 years and similar in the 6th, definitely, I think, had I jumped to this point that juncture would have been a little different, but having to find ways to learn quick the last couple stops, sure, I think that could help. There's a lot of similarity, but not at the same time. And so just understanding football as a whole and different systems has definitely helped for sure in these last crash course these last couple of weeks.
Carson, what can experience, with what's going on in the offense, what can experience bring to this situation that, no offense to JJ, but he doesn't have experience.
For sure.
You've got almost 100 games. What can you bring that he doesn't have?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I was young once too, and bullets are flying, and there's a lot of things going on back there. And I've just loved seeing how he's handled himself mentally through the ups and downs of just the 2 games. I'm not gonna lie, it's been fun to see his sideline, composure and all the things. And so, experiences. It is what it is, It's something you see kids come in and find a lot of success and kind of see the game differently. And now I've seen the game from a lot of different lenses now. So I'm confident and optimistic that helps and pays off, and can keep the chains moving, so to speak. But we'll see how it goes on Sunday.
96th career start he's going to make on Sunday, and you heard him say it. Different perspective, being the guy as he was, to being traded, being cut. He spent the last couple of years behind Matthew Stafford and Patrick Mahomes. Remember, 2 years ago, Wentz was on his couch till November. He didn't have a job. He thought he was going to be a starting quarterback in 2023. No phone calls came. That was after the Commander season, after how things ended in 22 in Washington, which did not end well. He got hurt during that year and then came back and didn't play well. Washington was fighting for a playoff spot that year and didn't get a phone call. He was, from what I was told, the Chiefs were interested in bringing him in that year as Patrick Mahomes' backup. From what I was told, he said no. He was looking for a starting job. That never came. And then signed on with the Rams. Heck, it was week 50. It was late. 13-14 of that 2023 season. Got a start in after played the 49ers in the final game of the regular season. Then obviously went on to Kansas City. But he said it there in that availability. He has not played in a game like this in a long time. It was 2022. Game that matters. Facing a Bengals team that's also going through it with their own backup quarterback. Just it's week 3, and it feels like the Vikings have already gone through just a whole season's worth of drama so far. More on that coming up later on in the show. We'll break. We come back. Bison standout golfer, fertile Minnesota native Rylin Petry will join us on the Bison starting 2 for 2 in winning 2 championships already on the golf course. That's coming up. We come back after this. Welcome back, everybody. Hot mic off and rolling. John Clark, Mahnomen-Waubun head football coach, going to join us in about an hour. Chat about the Thunderbirds rolling again. I mentioned off the top of the show, it is a Northwest Minnesota theme today. We got Mahnomen later on in the show. Our first guest, though, hails from fertile Minnesota. I don't know if we can have fertile and Mahnomen guests on. We'll ask him because the last time we talked to him, he was fresh off winning the Red River Amateur Championship and about to get married. And after that, all he's done is kept on winning on the golf course. As Rylin Petry joins us, North Dakota State senior golfer, fertile Minnesota native, and great to have him on the show. So last I saw you, life was pretty good. It seems like 6 months later, things are still going pretty good.
Yeah, things have been great for me. I think we last talked right after the Red River Am and week before I got married, so it was a good stretch of golf and life there. Yeah, it was a good rest of the summer, and now just coming off my first collegiate win feels pretty awesome. But ultimately, it was pretty cool to win alongside the team, and then win again this past weekend as a team. So it's been a great start to my senior year, and really excited for the rest of the year.
All right, I'll talk golf in a second. Married life, how's it gone here the first 3.5 months?
Yeah, things are pretty awesome. It's I'm pretty lucky to marry such an awesome girl, but yeah, it's awesome to be able to come home after practice qualifying, have a nice meal ready, and just living together. So it's been an awesome start to it, and wouldn't trade it for the world.
Adult life is underway. Can you confirm how many people roughly were at the golf tournament in Moorhead in June? Because when we interviewed, it felt like there were 50 people at the 18th hole.
Yeah, it was right around probably 30, 40 some. I don't know the exact number, but was pretty lucky to have the hometown support for them to drive up and support me like that. They've been key to all my success, and it's pretty fortunate to come from that.
What was the reaction even afterwards for people that didn't come or maybe watched it on TV or read about it? Describe that of what it was like back home that you maybe didn't even expect to hear from people after you won.
Yeah, it was really awesome to get a lot of cool texts from people back home that some don't even really get into golf, and I actually was on the golf course a week or two later, and they said, thanks to Rylin, it was a beautiful day out on the lake, but there was people inside on the lake watching it and seeing the great coverage that you guys put on. So it was pretty cool to see everybody back home watching and supporting me from afar too.
How much has that mojo rubbed off on what you've done so far to start 2025 for the Bison?
Yeah, just with that great start to the summer, and I think we've all been working towards it this summer, and the great start that the team's had. So I think we're in a great spot, and just need to keep working hard and pushing forward. And we've got everybody behind us, a lot of supporters. So it's pretty lucky here at NDSU.
Before we talk about how the seasons began, so when we talked, Bison Golf didn't have a head coach yet. When you found out Dr. Miller, your old coach of Bemidji State, was going to get the job, what went through your mind?
Yeah, I was caught off guard, to be honest with you. I had no idea that it never really ran by me, but it worked out pretty cool deal, kind of a full circle moment. I was there he recruited me my freshman year at Bemidji, and then ended up leaving there to come here. So it was kind of crazy, and we're just happy to have him here, and it's been a great start with him. So.
What was that relationship like, Rylin, when he was recruiting you, and how comfortable has it been now for you guys to get back in almost that same spot?
Yeah, I think when he recruited me, it was more of he wouldn't be just like a golf coach, but also a mentor, just somebody to talk to about other life things. And I think that was kind of a huge part of my success there too, kind of, leaving home for the first time, going to school, playing golf at the collegiate level. So I think, yeah, he's been a huge part of that, and I'm just happy to have him here in my final year here at NDSU with him.
Now, it's been a heck of a start you had for him, because you guys have gone out and won as a team the first two events. One out in New York City a couple weeks ago, and this past week in Omaha at Creighton's tournament. Why the success? Tell me about this as a team before I talk about you individually. Why have you guys been rolling the way you have?
Yeah, I think just as a team, we've got a lot of depth. Qualifying gets pretty intense at the start of the year, and we've got a good bond of guys that are pushing us from back home too, and we were prepared, had some good practice and a lot of qualifying, and I just think we got a good group of guys and a lot of depth, which really helps in that team success. So
how much you driving each other, knowing, hey, I want to be part of the five, that I'm not going to let up here, that this is an internal competition among you guys as well?
Yeah, it gets to be really competitive, and I know we kind of keep it fun in a way too. I'm a very competitive person, and just some of the freshmen, there's a little trash talking here and there out on the course, but I think that keeps us all ready, and whoever wants it. It's all, golf's, it's a level playing field when we're all playing qualifying. So I think, just all of us pushing each other, whether it's at qualifying or little practice games. And I think even playing beanbags together, we're always competitive. And I think that leads off out onto the course.
Well, I'm watching this weekend, Carter White is a freshman, another Northwest quote-unquote guy from Minnesota, from Verndale. He ended up shooting, I think he finished tied for third. I mean, so that's another guy who just got here, and he's playing great.
Yeah, it's remarkable to come into the Division I level just straight out of high school and be an impact on a team like that and have your second collegiate tournament in the top, tied for third. So I think, yeah, he's got a lot of talent and a great future ahead, and he's got the mindset. He's very competitive and confident also, which is a big part of the golf game.
We were just showed the photo of you winning a couple weeks ago to open the season out in White Plains, New York, just north of Manhattan. Describe those 3 days. What felt so good for you, and to get first collegiate win? Describe that.
Yeah, I think it's been just a long time coming, a lot of hard work. Just it was finally awesome to see the game kind of pull together at such an awesome place. We were treated there just unbelievable. They had just a lot of great food. The tournament was held perfectly by Columbia. It was nice of them to open up such a beautiful course for us to play, and it was just kind of pretty awesome to win alongside the team. It got pretty intense coming down the stretch. Just about blew it. We ended up winning in a tiebreaker for team, and it all came right down to the end, which every shot matters in golf, and that last putt can mean a lot. So it was just an awesome to get my first collegiate win and alongside the team.
So in other sports, team sports, there's a clock. You can tell what's left. For you in golf, how often you know a leaderboard, where you're at, like you're talking about coming down the stretch, we're like, okay, I'm up by one or we're tied?
Yeah, so ever since COVID, they went to a lot of online scoring, and I've always been a leaderboard checker.
Okay.
So I'm always watching the leaderboard after every other hole, it seems. So which is a good and bad thing. Some people like to avoid it and wait till the end, but I knew where I was at, and I like to know where I'm at coming down the stretch to see if I got to play a little more aggressive, and sometimes that can hurt you, but yeah, it gets pretty intense when the gaps start closing, or you can either pull away, and so it was fun to see that.
To have that paired with the win you had in June in Moorhead, how much has that solidified your confidence? Like, what I'm doing is working, and I got to keep replicating this now for each round.
Yeah, I think that's something I've always struggled with in my golf game is the confidence, especially putting. I've never been an extremely great putter, but I think that just seeing that hard work, staying patient, just trusting the process a little bit, it's a slow, just you have to stay patient with it. And I think that's been key. So it's an awesome start to the year, and I'm looking forward to the rest of it.
All right, I had to bend your ear because the Ryder Cup starts a week from tomorrow at Bethpage Black, which, ironically enough, you as a team got out there in New York last year. So for the people that follow the game, they know about the warning sign. Did you see that? Did you take a photo of it? When you heard that you guys are going to go play out there, what went through your mind?
Yeah, we got there, I think the practice round day, we got to play the red course, but we went and saw the sign, took a picture by it, and it was just kind of cool to picture the stadiums along the first hole, and just, yeah, it's in a remarkable spot and a great course.
Okay, so you played, there's two different ones there. There's actually a few, but you played the red course first. How different is that than the black course?
Yeah, so we got to play a practice round on the red course, and we played 36 holes that day, and I think I'd put up a pretty good score, but there were some low scores. Quite a few people were under par, and we got to Bethpage Black the next day, and no practice round or anything, but I ended up shooting 80, and just there was only one. I think there was no scores under par for the whole tournament after that, just playing one round there. So it's a remarkable spot and such a tough golf course. It'll be fun to watch the pros attack it in a couple of weeks here.
Did you feel like that 80 was like 110?
Yes, I was just. You get in the rough and trying to hit an elevated greens and can't get any spin on it. And it was demoralizing kind of, but just shows you how good they are to shoot a good score on that course.
So I was going to say, so you have intimate experience with it, and how much will you watch next week and say, okay, I know exactly where this guy's at. I'm interested in how he's going to hit this shot.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool to watch him on TV and just compare, see where some of our teammates were and just how they approach it and just the shots they hit. So it's going to be pretty cool.
I know. I wanted to ask you about this before we go. I saw this coming up in a couple weeks that NDSU and UND are going to face each other a couple days, one at Fargo Country Club and one up in Grand Forks. Describe that of a kind of a duel for a couple days against UND.
Yeah, I think that'll be kind of fun, just the inner rival we have and just kind of doing it just with us two teams. So I think that'll be fun to have them here at FCC and then go down to Grand Forks Country Club, and it'll be fun and also pretty competitive, which will be good to keep us in the competitive mode before the end of the season.
By the way, you guys have a dynamite travel schedule here. You got California still to come. You're going to Mexico, and then after winter break, it's Arizona, Florida, Kentucky. I mean, you guys you're living high here, man. You're going to be going all over the place.
Yeah, these last couple of years, even last year too, with Torrey Pines, Bethpage, Bandon Dunes, and now this year with Mexico again, it's pretty awesome. We're fortunate enough to be able to travel such awesome places and play some really cool courses.
Now, Coach Kennedy was on when he announced his retirement, told us about one trip to a beach. Can you illuminate on that at all from last year?
Yeah, it was a long hike down the hill right by Torrey Pines South, and we ended up going to the wrong beach. So that was kind of awkward, and Coach felt in an awkward spot, but that was pretty funny. It was good.
It's great to see you, man. Congratulations on a great start. Is today a day you're staying indoors? Are you going to go out and hit balls even now when it's raining out?
If it's not downpouring, I might go out there if it's sprinkling just to get some practice in, but we'll see what practice plan is later.
It's great to see you, man. Thanks so much for the time. Congrats on a great start. We'll talk soon, okay?
Thank you, Dom. Appreciate it.
Good to see you, bud. There he goes. Rylin Petry, Fertile, Minnesota's own Bison senior golfer, NDSU 2 for 2 to start the season. Of course, Rylin picked up his first collegiate win a couple weeks ago. It was fun to watch him play back in June in Moorhead. You saw a little bit of that video from when he shot the course record over at Moorhead Country Club and rode to winning the Red River Ram and off to a dynamite start. That Bison golf team, I know it's under the radar, but they've got a bunch of local guys. Gabe Benson's a Fargo kid. Obviously, Ryland's from Fertile. Jake Scarperood's a Shanley kid. They got a couple more. Carter White, I mentioned, from Verndale. Max Wilson, who was rising up the leaderboard at the River Ram, is from Roseau. So there's some dynamite guys playing golf for Dr. Ekron Miller in his first year as Bison men's golf coach. We'll break. We come back. We'll wrap up our first hour. Big second hour planned here on a rainy Thursday. Back on Hot Mic on WDAY Extra and Inforum.com after this. All right, wrapping up our first hour. Our thanks to Rylin Petry for giving us a few minutes there. That was good stuff. It's okay to talk golf when it's raining outside, but we'll keep our eyes on what's happening with the Bison golf team for the rest of the fall, and then and that's a neat deal. They've not done that before. A little duel with UND. They're going to have over 2 separate days at Fargo Country Club, and then up at Kings Walk up in Grand Forks. A couple other things I wanted to get back into on the Lynx game as we showed you the highlights off the top of the show. Down 14 through the first 3 quarters and come back and win that game at the end. They relied on all of their veterans. That shot by Collier, which for some reason they reviewed it, even though she was clearly inside the line, that made it 73-72. But then the possession there with the shot clock violation to literally give Golden State a chance to win it at the Horn was also mind-numbing. But they outscored them 26-11 down the stretch and get the win. So now it's either a rematch with the Liberty, granted a round earlier. They played in the WNBA Finals last year. This would be in the semis. Or Phoenix, led by Alyssa Thomas, who's been sensational. So we'll find out. As we mentioned, Game 1 will come up Sunday at Target Center in Minneapolis. 2 other things to get to here before we wrap up our first hour. It happened yesterday. News that we had talked about a couple weeks ago. The NCAA has officially signed off on eliminating the spring football portal window. That's donezo. Now, we don't know how long the other one is going to be. Yesterday, the FBS and FCS oversight committees discussed modifying the dates and length of the proposed January window. The Division I Administrative Committee will consider those adjustments when it meets in October. They did a vote to approve the change to eliminate the spring transfer window. This is according from ESPN.com, but did not sign off on establishing January the 2nd through the 11th as the lone portal window for the FCS and the FBS. There's still some discussion on that. This is more from ESPN. FBS head coaches advocated for a January portal window at the AFCA convention in January, and both oversight committees voted to support changing the transfer windows earlier this month. The reform will bring major changes to the timing and duration of the offseason transfer period in college football. I have long said the spring window stunk, and we saw it last year how badly it hurt FCS teams, whether you were a fan of the Coyotes, the Bison, no matter who you were, teams were losing players left and right last spring. Now, having it only be 10 days, I can see why there may be some resistance to that, because I think there could be a legal challenge to say you're limiting our time to access the portal. But here's the thing. You don't have to sign by then. You just got to get your name in there. So does it go to 15 days? Maybe. I mean, winter semesters normally start, January 20th? Some probably later than that or earlier than that. Between January 6th and January 20th is probably that sweet spot of when second semesters open. The initial proposal would require college football players to wait until January 2nd, the day after the completion of the college football playoff quarterfinals, to enter their names in the NCAA transfer portal database and be contacted by prospective schools. Grad transfers were previously allowed to enter the portal early, but they also now must wait till January. Players would have 10 days to enter the portal, but are under no deadline to make a commitment to their next school once they enter. That's also important. You don't have to decide by January 11th. You just got to get your name in there. Previously, as we know, the portal had been open early December, and then it's a month, which nobody, I think, was a fan of that. I think you're going to see it sometime in January. Maybe it's 15 days. But spring window is done. And frankly, football was the only sport that had two of them. Basketball had just a month. Everything else, hockey, just a month. Baseball. Football is the only one that had two of them. So they're down to one now. That we know. When it starts, we are not going to know until next month. We'll break. We come back. We'll start our second hour. Sam Goetzinger will join us. We'll talk probably about that, a few other topics as well on a Thursday morning edition of Hot Mic, which returns after these messages.
This is Hot Mic. Hot Mic. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Let's take a moment and talk about bunions. The original line read as this: bunions. You may have heard of them. That was my original line.
Hey, thank you, Dom. Johnny Cool Guys there with the sunglasses on.
That was off the dome.
To the west of
when
Illinois.
I'm looking on it, like okay, west. I shouldn't say right and left. Is that Missouri?
That is Missouri.
Yes.
That is
it's underneath
Missouri.
Iowa. Oh, I'm getting good at this.
He's coming.
So we're going to like the bottom peninsula region.
Peninsula?
Okay, we're going to come back on the ETSU tailgate and then go to you. How am I going to go from a tailgate to bunions?
Okay, good deal.
Let's take a moment and talk about bunions.
There he is. Sam Goetzinger joins us each and every Thursday.
Good morning.
10. How are you doing, bub?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
It's a good time to be alive right now. I will say that.
Is it about your Colts?
Yes, 100%.
I'll save that for a little bit later in the show.
Okay.
You can brag about your Colts being 2-0 on the year. There's a bunch of things we could chat about. I was just finishing on the portal stuff because it came official yesterday. The spring window is donezo. They haven't decided yet how long or when the one in January, likely it's going to start there. Okay. I'm trying to think of when roughly like spring semester start. Like June, like January 16th, 7th, like right around there, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
My school, we started really late. I remember we're like January 20th.
I think we were pretty late too. I think we had a good portion of the month off. Yeah, probably around that stretch.
Because I can't imagine they're going to want to go as long as they did, which was 30 days. Coaches did not like that. I think
so. Is it? Yeah, is
15 probably?
Okay, so 10, 15, but not 30.
Right now. 10 is out on the table, but that didn't get approved. So I'm thinking they want to go longer than that.
And that's expected to be decided in
next month,
in October.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
which I'll be awfully intrigued to see where they end up on that, what the date is. But the spring one, and we talked about this before, that was just hemorrhaging for FCS teams because as spring practices are wrapping up, like, oh, we need a running back. All right, let's go get this guy. Well, we need a defensive tackle. All right, I'll go. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that. You saw that time and time again last spring.
It was and that's when we saw a lot of teams kind of get gutted.
Correct.
Because situations changed and they had the opportunity to go in the portal. And it was there, and you're looking for something else. Why not take it? How is this? I know it's affected, bowl games, playoff games in the past. Is that going to be pretty prominent now moving forward?
I still think there are going to be guys that are going to say, well, I'm going to the portal, but I just can't go officially till January. They're going to announce it in December for teams that are playing in the college football playoff. No, I don't think they'll play. I think they'll sit out. I do, because I think we've seen that in the FCS, and no one made a big deal because it's FCS football, and there's only 7 markets that care about it. But once it happens, and it did last year, remember Penn State's backup quarterback went in, and
Cribula,
and everybody lost their mind. I'm like, hello, this has been happening at this level forever.
Right.
So
the
it'll
FBS
happen
level
again.
is going to get a bigger taste of this.
I think so.
Is what you're saying.
Even if it's after the quarterfinal round, I still think there are going to be guys that are going to sit out and not play.
Does this put a handle on things at all?
I don't know if we're ever going to put a handle on it, but I think it'll calm it down. Okay. Yeah, I do.
If he calms it down a little bit, then I guess it's a good thing. But it was pretty crazy.
You'll see. Yeah. Let's see when we get closer, because now without the extra COVID year out there, those guys have mostly moved on. I don't think there's many guys left that have that. That and with the portal, that was like the lethal combination. Now that those guys are gone, I still think you're going to see a lot of movement, but it ain't going to be what it was the last couple of years, which was nutso.
But how quickly does a guy miss out on the window and then just gets into a lawsuit? How fast is a lawsuit coming in this?
I think that's why I think they're still not signing off on the 10 days.
Right.
I think because they'd lose a lawsuit there. Hey, you're restricting my ability to get in there. That's why if they go to 15 or even 20, I think that's the sweet spot of maybe where they'll settle on.
Should be enough time, don't you think?
I would think, but we'll see. I wanted to wait till you came on to discuss the other news yesterday. Jet Feeney, Moorhead standout quarterback who's injured right now. He's not going to play in the game tomorrow night that you'll see on Extras. They're taking on Wayzata. Announced yesterday he had been offered by South Dakota State. So
not bad.
Feeney now has offers from Wyoming, the Jackrabbits, North Dakota State, and Montana State.
Not bad.
Those are the schools, at least around here. If you're a big deal, Montana State, SDSU, NDSU, you want to be offered by.
Absolutely. And that's a really good quarterback. I did their first Class 6A game of the season against Rogers, and that kind of reaffirmed, like, all right, this guy's a real deal. And he's just a junior, right?
Correct.
He's still got his senior season left to go, and his development from sophomore to junior year, he's getting out of the pocket more. He's making throws on the run, and I mean, man, his receivers are guys who should have schools in that conversation as well.
And he does.
Yeah, right. Good for him. He deserves all those offers. I wonder how long until you get more of the Big Ten schools in the mix there. I know there's been maybe some talk with some, like Northwestern. He was at a camp there. Wisconsin, he was at a camp there. Iowa State.
Which is Big 12, obviously.
Whoever lands him is going to be in a pretty good situation, I feel like. Now, hopefully he recovers well with this injury.
Yep.
I know the Spuds would love to have him back as soon as possible, but if I've learned anything from my Sanford Spotlight shoots over the last couple of months is that don't rush your rehabs.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So be smart about it.
Good tip there.
Yeah, exactly. I should text him.
So they have Wayzata's winless. I'm not going to say it's a rubber stamp.
It's Wayzata.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. Yep.
I think as long as they don't turn the football, and that's what killed them. They killed them in the second half of the game in Woodbury. They won, and killed them last week when they lost at Minnetonka. If they hang on to the ball tomorrow night, I think they have enough weapons. Being homecoming tomorrow, they should win. Then it's Maple Grove. I don't think he's going to be ready for that game yet either.
That's a different ballgame.
Frankly, I don't know if he's not 100%, I'm not playing him against the state champs.
No, that's going to be a physical game.
Yeah,
why risk an injury at that point in the season? Granted, yes, it is Maple Grove, and it's going to be a fun game, and you want all your stars out there, but why rush it? Especially with what this playoff system is in Class 6A. What's the point of potentially elongating this injury when it doesn't matter what your record is. You can go
And
into the
right.
playoffs. And
I'm not gonna
you
spend,
have
I'll
them
spend
help
more
them for
time
that.
on that in October to try to explain people exactly how the 6A bracket works, because it's truly a
March
32-team
Madness,
bracket. It's not like you're used to in section football where the one seed gets a bye and then plays the winner of the 4-5 matchup in the semis.
Yep.
That's not how it works in 6A football. And they still have Edina, Eden Prairie,
Really
and
good,
gosh, I'm
really
thinking there's
good.
one other
Yep.
one that's a juggernaut that they have in for October.
It's not
St. Michael.
Oh, St. Michael.
And St. Michael's
Yep.
still good.
Yes.
So those are three. That's what if you want to be ready in October, hopefully maybe he's back then, and then you gear up for the stretch run after that.
I agree. They do have a lot of talent. I haven't seen the much of the new quarterback that they have in there now, but the receivers that they have, J.J. Dunlap, David Mack, oh my goodness, those guys are really good. Tay Rich is good.
He's their best player.
Yeah, but something is added when Jed is there, and there's a reason why he's got these big FCS offers right now as a junior, and he got some of them at the end of his sophomore year. Hoping for the best. Hopefully he can come back healthy, but no point of rushing it, especially with how this season plays out moving forward with the playoff format.
Excited to see that coming up tomorrow night. You got a game tomorrow night as
I
well.
do.
Where are you
I
at
do.
tomorrow?
Davies and Bismarck.
Okay.
At Davies. So that should be a fun one.
So Davies lost last week to
did.
Legacy.
They did,
Legacy's now the number one team in 3A, and Bismarck lost as well.
But they've been on the up and up.
Yep.
Bismarck's been on the up and up over the last couple of years.
That's a good matchup. That could be a semifinal matchup. Could be a Dakota Bowl matchup, depending on how things shake out and go down the road.
I have yet to see the Davie or call a game. I've seen it from the sideline, but I've yet to see it. I've yet to call a game of the Davies offense. I've done it with Elk River, which is similar.
Okay. Well, if you've done Elk River, then you're all set.
But that was, 5 years ago.
Who were they playing?
They were playing St. Cloud Tech.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was it was a snow bowl. And I remember watching that wing T type offense.
Explain it to people that don't know if they haven't seen Elk River.
It's all about misdirection.
Correct.
The Bison used to do it back in the day, didn't they? And it was all about
There's the veer, a form of that.
It's a form of that, and it just running out your fakes. Well, I guess Barnesville does it too. Running out your fakes and. The whole point is to not know where the football is.
Who has the ball?
So for a broadcaster, it is impossible.
Dreadful.
The first time I watched that type of offense, Elk River was running it. It seemed like four guys just ran into the pile in the line of scrimmage, and then one guy was 90 yards downfield, and I didn't understand how it happened. But
Davies loves it. Wayne Weremeyer done this the last handful of years, and it's obviously worked because Davies made it all the way to the Dakota Bowl last year. They've got a ton of talent on this team this year. I'm interested to see how this plays out for him the rest of the year.
It's just the one downfall with that type of offense, and we saw it in the Dakota Bowl last year. It's hard to come back when you're down.
Yes,
it's hard to come back because
I think what did they throw 3 or 4 interceptions in that game against Cheyenne?
Just airing it out in the second half to try to gain some ground there, and it's a hard thing to do, especially when you don't really focus on passing as a main part of your offense. It may be there for a play or two during the game, but if they can stay up on people, they got a really good shot at it.
You saw the game last week. You have Cheyenne and who'd you have?
Cheyenne and Century.
What do you make of those two teams?
It's a downfall for Cheyenne. They lost a lot of really good talent from last year. Kai Schlichting looks really good.
That's the Bison recruit there.
Bison, he's a running back for Cheyenne. But Century, they shut down the run. They made that a point of the game. They shut down the run. And Cheyenne, their starting quarterback, he went out with an injury right before halftime, so they brought in a sophomore who really kind of gained his momentum towards the end of the game, but time ran out on them. Century, another team, too. There's a lot of room there.
That was their first win, correct, last week? Second win? Okay.
No, first win. They were 0-2, yep. They lost to Shanley and Legacy. And that's a team that's got some room for improvement, too. But they ran the ball really well.
Yeah.
They had a really good running back there who was – they give it to him about 25 times, and he was picking up yards after contact, and it was impressive. But I don't know. Things got to turn around for them to make a big push in the playoff, in my opinion.
A scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most surprised, 1 being not, where are you with Kindred being 3-0?
Oh. What'd you say was
10 is most surprised, 1 is not.
3?
Yeah.
Yeah, not.
That includes beating Horace, which that was a great win.
It was a close game. Was it 34-32?
It was a one-point game that they ended up winning and on the road to win. I say road because Kindred and Horace are closer than people think, but
no,
that's a big time. I mean,
I had no reservations that they were going to walk in there and not be good. I think I'm a little bit more surprised the success that Central Cass has had.
Central Cass has been good, 2-1.
2-1. And I think they got Central coming up here soon. I don't know.
Central's unbeaten. We had Jake Schauer on last week after they started 2-0 and they beat Dickinson to get to 3-0 on the season. They are off to a really nice start. Central goes to Watford City.
Watford City.
Good luck to them. That's the grossest road trip that they have. They got to go there.
Right.
But their next 2 weeks are at Watford and at South for the next 2 weeks for Central. But it's coming up with their game.
As for Kindred, though, the talent that they have on that team, I'm not shocked at all. They can hang with anybody in the state. I think regardless of class.
Now I know the Forum did something on this. I've not seen him play yet in person. I don't know if you have. Reese Castle's younger brother Drew got offered earlier this week by the University of Michigan. So Michigan has offered him. Minnesota has offered him already. I believe the Bison will be at the game tomorrow night to watch.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised.
He's a junior, much like we're talking about with Jed Feeney. I think he's actually 2 inches taller than Reese, and Reese is 6'5".
6'5". I think his brother is
6'7".
I think I've seen him.
I've not seen him play in person yet.
Come in was it a garbage time game? I can't remember. I remember doing a game when Reese was playing for Fargo South, and I think towards the end of that game, his brother
Drew got in.
His brother came in and made a catch, and all I remember was like, "Wow, this kid is a giant! Holy cow, this guy is tall." It's something in the water with those Kessel boys. We talked it on Bison Media Zone yesterday. Reese is really coming into his own here, and they're catching the football.
If Michigan's offering you, though, I mean
that means something, right?
So Baco got offered by Michigan, and now Kessel has.
So they're creeping into this footprint here.
Yeah, they had not before.
Yeah,
Minnesota had obviously been here. The Huskers had been here. Kansas State had been here. Michigan had not. That I don't know why. That just carries a different. I saw that and I just stood up and like, okay.
Well, it's a blue
University
blood.
Of Michigan.
Yeah, they're coming out here and getting some waves in the portal world. I think with Drew and with Brooks, I think they're both tight ends now that will eventually mold into wide receivers. Don't you think?
Well, it's 6'7". Well, Kessel is 6'7", 210 right now.
He's a thin 6'7", isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I would think you gotta. They'll finish him out. Baco, I know some are looking at wide receiver. I know others are looking at tight end. So both are dynamite athletes.
He can probably do both and be just fine. I mean, again, he can go play college basketball somewhere and make a difference.
The 2027 class,
unreal,
is crazy.
Not just in football, it's also in basketball.
Yeah.
It's especially in baseball.
Yeah,
it's crazy. We just saw Borkart from Horace. With Oregon, it's a pretty.
It's
legit
something actually. When we get to signing day for whatever the sport is, like we're gonna sit back, like, wow, this is impressive.
These are big time schools that are making their way into North Dakota now.
All right, let's break. When we come back, we'll give Sam the floor to tout about his love of Daniel Jones and the Indianapolis Colts.
He's not a Viking.
We'll do that.
Never was.
On the other side of the break. Back on a Thursday morning edition of Hot Mic after this. Welcome back, everybody. John Clark, Mahnomen-Waubun head coach, going to join us in just a few minutes. Thunderbirds are rolling again. They're unbeaten. All right. Speaking of unbeaten, your Indianapolis Colts. When we did the season predictions,
I said wins.
You did not say 2-0. I know that to start the year.
They haven't been 1-0 in like 11 years. I think that's. That's what the time frame
full
has
disclosure,
been.
I have the Sunday ticket, and I had no interest in the Chiefs-Eagles game. I was watching the Colts-Broncos. It was fabulous.
It sounded like NFL Red Zone was more focused on that game, too.
Because nothing much was happening in the Eagles-Chiefs game.
It is so fun to watch Colts games now. It is.
Well, when they're winning, right?
I haven't had this feeling in a couple of years. And I was sitting there watching and just grinning ear to ear because they were down for a good portion of the game, but I never lost faith. And I was like, what's going on? They're going to come back and win this game. It's going to happen. And usually I'm the first person to, while it's over, I'm done. These guys.
That's what I did with the Jets game on
horrible.
Sunday after the Bills scored.
It was awesome. Big plays.
Your guy,
they got
JT,
weapons.
scoring.
They got weapons. Alec Pierce, Josh Downs was making catches.
Who are these guys?
Exactly. Don't take them in free agency.
By the way, I'm going to tell you something controversial.
Cam Bynum is great. By
Yeah,
the way.
he's
Thank you. Yeah.
Why can't the Vikings find players like
Exactly.
him? The celebration was tremendous, by the way. The Colts going all white at home is a great look. I really like that, by the way. When I saw that Sunday, that's cool.
I'm a fan. I still kind of wish they would use a little bit more of that new branding that they put out a couple of years ago. Remember we talked about it on this show, with the different logos and stuff. But
that was a full on shank there. That's like a Goetzinger golf shot there, right?
Absolutely,
that he
just
dinged
clanking off
the-
a tree.
right.
Oh man, I was jumping for joy.
All right, take us through the end of the game here, because this was I did not hear the commentary live. So what on the Colts with the first field goal try, why they were penalized
Spencer
for it.
Schrader, who's the greatest kicker in the game. So 60-yarder, he had not made from his career long was like 50.
And he didn't have the leg there either.
But he hasn't missed in his NFL career. And then they call for the infraction touching the center. I can't,
Right there.
Yeah,
you can't do that.
Yeah,
Leaping.
You can't leap over the guy anymore. So you get another crack at it from 45, and this is a chip shot.
Yeah, if you're going to get a kicker 15 more yards.
Oh, man. It was, I would say, props to the CBS crew. It was cinematic.
We had Harlan doing the game first off.
How
so
they
it was
did it.
Tremendous.
It was Denver comes out after the missed field goal. They're cheering. They had just won the game, and then, oh, wait a minute. Oh, there's a flag, and then the little flag bug comes up from the scoreboard. Oh, there's the chance.
So
and
it
then
reminded me, honestly, of when the Bison in South Dakota last year. Remember the crazy drive that the Bison had? And they got stopped, and they had to kick a field goal, and then USD got penalized, so the Bison kept on the field and ended up scoring a touchdown on that drive. It was similar.
It was similar.
Obviously, with Indianapolis.
It was similar,
getting that.
and I'm glad the miss didn't get into Spencer Schrader's head because he knocked through that 45-yarder, and I knew they always had a chance. It's really good. The Colts are really good. Defense is really good.
Were you able to watch this game? Because it wasn't on locally.
Yes. I'm not going to disclose how, okay? That is not needed to be talked about.
Understood.
No, we have a thing. It's apparently legal. I've made sure it's legal. I've double checked.
Sharing passwords now is what you're saying?
No, it's a thing. So
oh boy, here we go.
My dad, a big Colts fan, bigger than I am. He's been part of Colts fan world for his whole life.
Is he a fan of the Baltimore Colts?
Yes.
Oh, that is old school.
And we can't watch it in Minnesota.
Yep.
So he's not a technology guy, even though he runs a radio station. So he just he used to listen to the radio on his phone.
Yep.
And then have the Vikings game up on the TV. And then he finally said enough was enough. And then bought this platform, which again is legal. From what I've been told, it's legal. And now we can watch it. I can watch everything now.
So you're living well then.
I'm doing pretty well.
Now it's funny because the Colts play the Titans on the road this week
And
in
beautiful
Nashville.
Nissan
you know
Stadium.
all about it now after
man.
being there.
Can't wait to see Nissan Stadium glow on television.
They could be
once again.
3-0. Titans are not good. They could win this game. Titans aren't good.
I might pick them for the Eliminator deal.
All
I might.
Give me your pick here.
It's either them or I want to pick the Bills, but they play tonight. Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah, if you want to pick, you gotta let us know.
Yeah,
if
lock me in. Lock me
all
in
right,
for
there
the
you go,
Bills.
Kyle. Lock him in. He's taking
Bills against Miami.
He's taking Buffalo tonight against Miami.
I don't know how much time we have, but I do want to say this because I've been hearing it a ton, especially from people in this office that KOC, he's helped Daniel Jones become the
of course he
quarterback.
did.
Shut up! No, he was here for a cup of coffee.
He resurrected Daniel. Daniel Jones was broken.
Well, then if he was all that, why didn't he stay here? Why didn't
he wanted
they
to be a
hold on
starter.
to him? Well, why didn't they make him a starter
JJ
if he was this great?
JJ is their guy.
Oh, look how well that's worked out. Shane Steichen's
Hard
been
to
the sole
argue that.
reason why Daniel Jones has been a great quarterback. I will say that. But no, he's been great. He's
10
been fun.
people, 9 out of 10 people have no idea. They couldn't pick Shane Steichen out of a lineup next to you. They have no idea who he
Don't
is.
have to. And I thought he was going to get fired at the end of the year. Now I'm hoping no one knows who he is so they can't find him when they want to poach him.
All right, so you were on fire here. So locked in with Buffalo tonight for the Eliminator.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think that's safe. My strategy before
Well,
was to
it's safe,
pick everybody who has played the Saints. So I'm going to veer off of that.
See, I'm almost positive everybody on our eliminator is going to take Tampa because Tampa's playing the Jets this weekend.
Well, Tampa doesn't have an offensive line
They
anymore.
don't, though.
Yeah.
Our guy got hurt. So Kyle pondering that. Kyle's strategy is to pick against the Jets all year. He did it last week with Buffalo.
Yep.
I guess that worked out because the Bills.
Not a bad strategy
the Bills
at all.
squeaked by the Jets by 20 last week. But yes, you can't pick the same team twice.
Yeah, I didn't know that at first too.
Because you've picked two. You picked the Cardinals.
I picked the Cardinals,
I
and
know
I
you
picked
picked last
the.
week.
Oh man, who was it?
Either way, you won.
I did. Cardinals and whoever played the Saints.
San Francisco.
San Francisco. And
so that's it. You've done twice on the.
There was a couple close ones. So I think I'm going to veer off of that for
trend.
a second. Yep.
Gotcha. All right, bud. So we'll see you tomorrow night for football. Your game, Davies and Bismarck out in South Fargo for that one. You can check Sam on the call. Enjoy your weekend off.
Yeah.
You got any big plans?
I'm going to go home.
Good for you.
Dozinki Days in New Prague.
Oh.
Yeah, so it should be fun.
What does that involve?
It's the Harvest Festival.
Okay. I'm assuming some pretty good food, right?
Yeah, Vomachka, and everybody just goes into the street and just kind of stands and chit-chats for a while. So I'm going to do that.
Is there a parade?
Yeah, but but that's usually on Fridays, and I got bigger things going on.
That?
Yeah, Saturday's more the social.
Say, I thought you might. Are you the guest of honor? Because you're a big deal.
No, my dad was actually the grand marshal of
that
this
right?
entire thing 2 years ago. So yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah, so I'm hoping
your
one day
time will come.
I'm hoping one day they call me back and say, hey, we've heard how well you talk about New Prague on that show, Hot Mike. We'd love to have you back.
Thanks for coming by, bud. There you go. Sam Goetzinger joins us each and every Thursday at 10 o'clock. We'll take a break. We come back. We'll head to northern Minnesota. Team keeps racking up wins. Mahnomen-Waubun head coach John Clark will join us when we come back on Hot Mike right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Thursday morning show rolls on. Final half hour. Tomorrow, Corey Provis join us. We'll update on the Twins as they get ready for their final homestand of the year. Also, we get ready for another First Down Friday to get rocking and rolling across the year. Might have to deal with some elements. Looks like the weather forecast may bring some rain, more rain into the area as it's doing it right now. No surprise, though, when you look at the standings across Minnesota high school football, a team that's unbeaten through its first three games, just set it to rinse and repeat. As Mahnomen-Waubun, the Thunderbirds are 3-0. Beating Red Lake in their last game. They got a game at Nevis coming up tomorrow night. Longtime head coach John Clark, friend of our show, back with us here on this Thursday morning to chat about another great start for his team. It's great to see you, bud. Thanks so much for the time. Is this just, set it and forget it for you on how to start a year? Describe why the team has been off to such a good start.
Just Dom, another great group of kids. We're pretty spoiled when we have good classes that come through with good football players. And, I've said this many times, for some reason, our kids, when they go from their junior year to their senior year, they become really good football players. And we're seeing it again this year. And, just a fun group, very, very laid back group, not a big rah-rah group, but they just kind of go about their business.
We talked last year in the great run you had, made it back to U.S. Bank Stadium. You're unbeaten. You got beaten in the semifinal game. How much did that spur for this team? The guys you just mentioned, the juniors that were coming back for seniors, that's something that you had to address, or is that even unspoken with this team?
No, that's unspoken, and I think that goes back to that. The senior leadership in our program just gets passed down from year to year, and this senior class is one of the best we've had. They've they lead more by example than by words. But that was a tough one last year in the semi. We had a 16-point lead, and things were looking real good, and then just momentum switched and a couple of injuries, and it snowballed on us. So I think our team kind of, especially those juniors that played a lot, kind of had that bad taste in their mouth, like we may have let one slip away there. So it's definitely fueled this season for sure.
For you as a longtime coach, in a game like that, how do you set when you see momentum flipping? Are you powerless there? What can you do when you see the game playing out the way it did last year?
Well, it was more of just reaction because we had a couple of key injuries, and people know in small town football, one injury affects about 4 different positions. So we were in scramble mode, to be honest. I laughed. We had a young wide receiver, 5'5", 100.
Connection may have frozen up here. Hopefully we'll get him back here in a second. He was talking about the experience last year, the semifinal loss that the Thunderbirds had. They lost to Springfield, as I just was mentioned in that game. They were up 16-0, as Coach Clark was mentioning, and ended up falling there. Hopefully we'll get him back here in a second. You mentioned about that team that they had last year falling in that semifinal game. Bounced back and started this season, having allowed a total of 2 points. We got you back, bud. Sorry. There you go. That's all right. Finish that. You're telling us about a young wide receiver that you had come into the game because of the injuries you had.
Yeah, so he's 5'5", 130 pounds, and he ends up playing tight end. And Springfield had a DN that was about 6'5", 250. So he got to tangle with him for a few plays, and he come off and he said, "I don't like tight end." And I said, "Okay." Yeah, but you're tenacious. You're tenacious. That's why you're in there. So, it's just scramble mode at that point. And, we did the best we could. We still had a chance. I mean, we had the ball and, a chance to pick up a third down and just didn't quite get it. So, I mean, ended up giving up a cheap one at the end, but it was a one-score game.
That experience, though, John, for those guys, how valuable is it now going into 2025?
I think, like, again, we're spoiled because we've been through it enough times that our kids, they kind of know what to expect. They've been there. They know the routine once the playoffs start is a little different than it's been in a regular season. So, they know what it's like to go to the Fargo Dome, what all that is about. They know the state tournament, luckily, and the freshmen are wide-eyed. They're taking it all in, and sometimes you got to give them a little slap on the back of the head and say, "Hey, wake up here! We got to do things now." So you're still carrying equipment like you have all year. Grab that bag and let's get to the locker room. So, but it's nice to have that experience.
When you have the reputation your program does, just even on like tomorrow night for a normal Friday night game, and I put normal in quotation marks. What is the pressure of that, knowing everyone expects you to win? How do you handle that? Even as a coach, you've been doing this for a long time.
Again, our kids have been through it. And we talk about that, how, a lot of times we do have a target on our back because of our success. Yeah. And, there's a few programs in the area, that have had sustained success. So I think our kids thrive off it. I mean, I don't know that they feel pressure. I think the biggest pressure is they want to look so good doing it, and it's not easy sometimes. If we don't score in 4 plays, it's like, what's going on here? No, we're fine. We're getting first downs. It's not going to be easy all the time. And this week, especially playing a Nevis team that we haven't played ever. They've been 9-man, not sure quite what to expect. You get a little bit of film, but they haven't played us either, so I'm sure they have some things they'll show us that we haven't seen.
I was going to ask you about that. That's an opponent you haven't faced. How, for you doing this, how different, or not necessarily scary, but maybe a similar word about the unknown of what you don't know you're going to see tomorrow night?
No, we as coaches, we enjoy it. It tests you as a coach, what to expect, and most of the time we're completely wrong. And to be honest, Dom, we've been into too many games where we've had these grand plans. We're going to do this and we're going to do that. And it usually doesn't work. And we go right back to our bread and butter 2 plays that we've been running for 25 years. And we say, stop us. And so far, not too many have.
The expectations that come with it, I'm sure, how much does that help even for getting kids to come out? Hey, come play football. You know what the past pedigree is. Expectation-wise. Do you even need word of mouth, or to go out and get guys because word of mouth is so good to come out and play football?
No, I think word of mouth and success obviously is the biggest recruiter you can have, and we're so lucky right now that we do get most of our kids out. So for small school, we're very lucky in that we can have mainly 2 groups of older kids that are practicing together, and then pretty much two groups of younger kids, 9th and 10th graders. So, I remember days when we had 25 kids out, and your seniors are beating the snot out of your poor freshmen, and that's no fun.
Yeah.
And now our freshmen get to battle each other and other sophomores, and it's fun for them. And I think, it's pretty clever. The new kids, they'll come. Well, when do we get to go to the Dome? We don't necessarily get to go to the Dome. A lot of work to do before that. It's not just going to happen, and it's not a given, So there's some of that. We get kids that just want to be around their friends and be part of the team, and honestly get in the team picture too. That's a big draw for a lot of kids.
So I had your bro on this spring because he's got a Division I football player at Pillager, and Earl Brown, he's going to go play at North Dakota State. We saw Pillager beat Barnesville this past weekend. How much do you guys chat on a Friday night after the game, or what's the constant communication like with you and your bro?
Oh, there's a little bit after the game, but it normally comes Sunday evening is when, okay, now what, how those coaches meetings go, Dom, after games. So then Sunday morning is when, when it's serious talk and, how'd it go? And, I know they're pretty excited over in Pillager right now. That was obviously
that's a big win,
huge win for their program. And, that's one of those wins that can really springboard a team in a season. So, they got good things going. But like his dad says, Bomber, if he just wasn't so bullheaded, I think good things could happen over there.
How much do you just having that experience with your dad, to have that sounding board, does that still help now, even all these years you've still been doing it?
Well, a big help early on. I don't know that it's much of a help anymore because, as I said, I don't know what it is, but as you get older, you see all the things that are wrong. You know what I mean? You don't see the good things that are happening, and you should do that. And and it's really hilarious because when Bomber's talking to me, it's how bullheaded my brother is, and I hear from my brother when he's talking to him, it's how bullheaded I am. And if we would just listen to him more, but wisdom, and
no doubt,
I'm blessed because Ken Bauman, the old coach at Mahnomen, still drops by weekly pretty much and just asks how the team's going and. Throw things off of him. So
hey, I say
a lot of football flavor around.
I say it all the time. The older I get, unfortunately, the more right my dad gets. It's just crazy. Like every day, it seems like somebody tells me, like, yeah, all right, he was right again on that one. Before I let you go, just expectation wise, we had Matt Bosch on from Park Christian to start the week, and now they're in your section, in that how deep 8A is. Everybody knows what you bring to the table, but describe that of playing, knowing full well we got to play well every week because everybody's looking for us, everybody's gunning for us.
No, I like I said, I enjoy that, and I think our kids feed off it just because, there's that urgency. Our kids are so smart nowadays with all this social media and. They know other kids from other towns and they know what teams have more than the coaches do, to be honest. Oh, they have this kid and we pretty much worry about our own team. So they you kind of know who's going to be really good and, who's kind of that team that can surprise and who's got, teams that are going to struggle. Our kids kind of know that. So, but again, when you've had the success we've had, they don't want to let that down. And right now, the big thing is our defense hasn't given up a touchdown yet, and they really want to save that. And sometimes that's added pressure. And kind of, I hope we give one up just so we can be done with that talk, to be honest, and we can move on from that. But they like I said earlier, they just want to. They want to perform so well and show everybody how good they are. So I think that's more pressure than anything.
I have one more for you. This is, I think, year 8 of the co-op. If I would have told you where you're at success-wise, how it's gone, would you have believed me in 2018 when this all came about?
Yeah, parts of it. And, it's just a weird, it just seems so natural, after that first year. And again, I'll say this to the day I die. Those kids that first year were tremendous. If we didn't have that group of kids, who knows how it goes.
Good point.
But not only talented football players, but giving kids, sacrificing positions and playing for each other and all that jazz. And it made it very seamless. And now, it's just, you're not a Mahnomen kid, you're not a Waubun kid, you're a Thunderbird, and we see that every day.
Helps when you win the state championship the first year as the co-op, but you're exactly right. It's a great point because I'm really how different it may have been had not the success you had the first year of doing it. It's great to see you, bud. Be well. Good luck tomorrow. We'll talk down the road, okay?
All righty. Thanks for having me, Dom.
Good to see you, man. There he goes. John Clark, head coach, Mahnomen-Waubun Thunderbirds in action tomorrow night. He's mentioned first-time opponent with Nevis, moving up from the 9-man ranks into 11-man football. Have score of that coming up tomorrow on First Down Friday. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll put a bow on things, get you ready. We got a fun Sports Thursday on tap. We'll get you ready for that and send you out the door. Hot Mike wraps after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com. All right, wrapping things up here on this Thursday morning. Tomorrow, Corey Provis will be with us. Twins get set for their final homestand of the year. We'll have stone cold NFL picks with my pops to wrap up the week. See how he does this coming weekend with a couple of dynamite matchups, including Monday night, Lions-Ravens to wrap up week 3 as we're back to just a one game on a Monday night. Vikings obviously have the Bengals. Everyone's clued into the Jets and the Buccaneers. We'll give you all that coming up tomorrow on the show as we wrap up what's already been a fairly hectic week and send you off into the weekend with some match. Again, locally here, the best game, as you're looking at the ticker to follow games, is the Wayne State MSUM game. That's the top one. By the way, shout out to a couple of our teams in our area with their monster road trips this weekend in NAIA football in the New Frontier Conference. Mayville State already left. They're going to California to play Simpson College out in California. Valley City State also left on their way to Eastern Oregon this weekend. We talked with Mayville about this prior to the season, about the road trip, and now it's here for them. I think their equipment left on Tuesday to make sure it got to California for an 8 p.m. kickoff. Historic for both VCSU and Mayville this weekend about playing games on the West Coast. Just say that out loud just sounds crazy. We talk about realignment all the time, but to have that be a deal, just crazy. Also, little scheduling note, next Tuesday, Bison men's basketball coach David Richmond will be right over here. We'll have him, I think, for the better part of an hour. Looking forward to that. We're going to ask him about this. Matt Norlander, who does a great job covering college basketball for CBS, tweeted this out earlier this week. The 2025 offseason has brought a big downturn in basketball commitments. Some schools know how much money they have, others don't. Skepticism reigns supreme. Has the market cooled, or is this an industry-wide attempt to bluff prices back down to lower levels in 2026? He also said he heard from a high-profile head coach and longtime and well-respected high-major assistant in the last 24 hours, both of whom said on background they've never felt more directionless and less confident in their ability to recruit than the past 3 months. That goes to something we've been talking about, that there are basketball programs that aren't even recruiting high school guys anymore. They're just seeing how much money we have. We'll go in the portal. We're going to go get these guys and be good. Dave's strategy has always been, we're going to recruit high school guys. They actually have 4 commitments already for their 2026 roster of high school players. He actually is out recruiting now because I was hoping we were going to have him on before practice begins because the Bison open practice on Monday, and he said he was recruiting the next 2 days, which I responded, recruiting? Who does that anymore? I thought you just hit the portal, which I got a funny response out of that. But that right there goes to show exactly what's happening basketball-wide. Football to a lesser extent, that they're not even spending money on high school guys anymore. Just saying, hey, can we go get the portal? And we'll go do that. So that's coming up next week on the show. All right, we'll do some what to watch before we get out of here. What to Watch is brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. We appreciate their sponsorship of our show each and every day. All right, Dolphins and Bills coming up tonight to start Week 3 on Amazon Prime at 7:15. Oh, we got our game of the week. I forgot I did it. I wrote it down, too. I even have it in front of me. Shanley and Horace, high school volleyball, coming up tonight, 7 o'clock on WDAY Extra. Some good high school volleyball tonight. And we got Dolphins, Bills. Storm Aces in Game 3 on ESPN2 at 8:30. And can the Mets win, please? 10 games to go. That's coming up at noon on MLB Network. Our thanks to John Clark, to Sam Goetzinger, and Rylin Petry. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. You can watch a full replay on WDAY+. Everybody stay dry. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.